This is the Westley Blue, part of the Mark I range by American microbrand Mark Time Watches. Now I spent a considerable amount of time speaking to and getting to know Mark, the owner of this brand, and he explained to me the reasons as to why he created this brand and this watch, and I'd like to share that with you today. And also stick around as I take the Westley Blue around Media City in Manchester here in sunny England in my usual walkabout at the end of my vid. As ever, it's great to have you here. But before we do anything else, here's the watch's spec in 90 seconds. Now Mark Time Watches is a microbrand based in the USA and run by a lovely fella called Mark, who worked as a creative leader in film, music and online media for the last 14 years. So here we have an eponymous brand name and a brand started by Mark that was designed to both symbolise something very deeply personal but also to serve a real purpose. Now after I initially reached out to Mark, he very kindly put aside some time to chat with me over Zoom, and man, what can I say, I was totally inspired and captivated by his story. Here we have a man who has spent a lot of his life being totally motivated by never feeling good enough, never being satisfied with who he was and what he's done despite all of his successes in life. All gas, no steering, no brakes, so Mark says. And it was actually a perfect storm of life forces that one day forced Mark to change his lens on life, to mark time for himself, to let feelings come and go, to feel good about his wins, and to feel good about what he can do now. So Mark Time was created, and it isn't just an eponymous brand name named after himself for any sort of self-glorification. It is to mark time, to symbolise that moment in life I suppose we all need, to reflect and to use that reflection to feel good about yourself. So Mark Time was created, and Mark I is the first range of the Mark Time brand, and within that Mark I range you can find the steel, the Westley and the bronze. So just stepping aside from really the soul of this watch and focusing now only on its specification. And as mentioned in my quite curious 90-second spec, the Westley Blue is 12.5mm in height, or 12.1mm minus the double-domed sapphire crystal, 42mm in diameter, 49.5mm lug-to-lug, 22mm at the lug, with this dark blue leather strap tapering down to about 19mm at the sign buckle. So the dial. Now for me, the dial is very, very unique and captivates Mark's story in a very small space. It features this large M that not only pays homage to the first letter of Mark's name, but also represents a metaphor for the past, the present and the future. And that M is cut into this beautiful sunburst steel dial in bright blue. And with a cut out into the dial, the different colours, all of which are darker in contrast to that sunburst blue, really offers depth and real distinction to the dial. Now curiously, the hour markers are these square white indices at 11, 12 and 1 o'clock, each representing Mark, his wife and his child. And the indices are circular at 2, 3, 4, 8, 9 and 10 o'clock, and have been designed to represent 6 major factors in life: truth, joy, love, power, peace and healing, huge life forces in Mark's own life. And all hour indices are applied and against printed darker blue minute markers. We have baton hands, baby blue from the centre and white towards the end. And everything on this dial that is in white is lumed with Superluminova BGW9 Grade A lume. And all of that sits beneath this double dome sapphire crystal. And just to note that the crown is a push-pull crown and signatured. The case is 316L stainless steel, brushed. However, the straight edge base of the bezel is polished, in addition to the polished chamfered edging of the lugs, and just adds a feel of sophistication to that case. There's an overall matte feel to this watch, to the case, and despite the shine you get in certain angles of that sunburst dial, there's small elements of polished that is used very wisely in my opinion, namely on that bezel base, the chamfered edging of the lugs and on the edging of each of the indices, giving this watch that overall matte feel, yes, but the right amount of shine in the right angles of light. The movement is a Miyota 9039 automatic movement, 24 joules, 28,800 beats per hour, 42 hour power reserve, hand windable with hacking seconds. And this exhibition caseback showcases 2 main elements. Number 1, the rotor on the caliber is personalised with the statement, "Mark time for yourself," which is a really neat touch given the story behind this brand. Secondly, half of the exhibition glass has been covered with a film and has a branded M icon, each pointing to 3 important factors of the Mark Time brand ethos. Number 1, a Japanese heart, which is in reference to the Miyota movement. Number 2, German love, which is in reference to the TUV Rhineland German certified manufacturer. This watch is in fact made in Germany, and TUV is short for Technische Überwachungsverein, in German, a highly recognised worldwide trademark of trust and quality. And also the third important factor is Philly sarcasm, which is in reference to that fantastic humour of the Microbrand owner. And a big thanks to my own German wife, by the way, for helping me pronounce Technische Überwachungsverein. And it's all held together on the wrist by this lovely and soft 22mm dark blue leather strap, signatured with double stitching, quick release, with almost like a suede inner feeling, and it's so very comfy. And on the wrist it wears really nicely on my 7.5 inch wrist. That 42mm case wears a little larger, and that's because of this big blue dial and very thin bezel, and that near 50mm lug to lug adds to that large feel, as does the 22mm lug width. Design aside, this really is a men's watch and could equally be worn casually down the pub with your mates or as part of more formal wear, which is cool considering that this is in fact a dress watch. Cost wise, the Mark 1 steel and Westley blue is priced at $480 and $490 respectively. That's about 390 UK pounds and about 400 quid respectively in today's market as of early April 2023. With the bronze coming in at 560 USD, which is about 455 UK pounds. That all comes with free worldwide shipping, 7-day free return and a 2-year warranty. But do keep an eye out on their website and our social media, in particular their Instagram page, as some very good deals are often available. Now overall for me, personally, I find the dial to be stunning, exceptional really, and something that represents something extremely personal to Mark himself. The watch itself is something that has a compelling meaning and a sense of meaningful definition, something that is so deeply personal to someone and something that also resonates within each and every one of us. The past, the present, and the future. Truth, joy, love, power, peace and healing. To mark time for oneself. To reflect. To take the time to appreciate who we really are. Now this watch really does go well and truly beyond the realms of just design and aesthetics, both of which, by the way, this has in abundance. But with the Mark 1, you're not just wearing a design, or you're not just wearing a specification on your wrist. You're wearing an inspiration, a watch with a real soul. Mark time is a tangible reminder to mark time for yourself, to watch that second-hand sweep, to take a breath and feel good. The thought and love that went into this, for me, is timeless, is priceless, and compares only to the thought and personality that goes into a love song or a story. Now compare the thought of that against the thought process put into, say, every single Seiko ever made, and ask yourself this: what would you rather wear on your wrist? See you later.
Through the book, God is sown and grown and flowered, emerging as an emerald.
But it stuck in my head a little bit, I've got to say.
and I am back.